You're listening to Underground USA News.
Sunday, August 10th, 2025. A recent Undercover video reveals a group of out-of-state socialists and far-left activists allegedly plotting to interfere with immigration and customs enforcement operations in Houston by posing as legal advisors. The footage, captured by an intrepid reporter, suggests these activists aim to intimidate ICE officials and obstruct immigration enforcement efforts, raising concerns about coordinated attempts to undermine border security. This development comes amid heightened scrutiny of illegal immigration and border policies, with critics arguing such tactics could destabilize lawful enforcement mechanisms. The video has sparked debate about the influence of radical groups in local communities, prompting calls for increased transparency and accountability in immigration-related activism. Texas Governor Greg Abbott has pledged to call indefinite special legislative sessions to push through a Republican-led congressional redistricting plan, vowing to pursue civil arrests for Democrat lawmakers who fled the state to block a quorum. Over 50 Democrats left Texas to prevent a vote on the GOP's map, which could secure up to 5 additional U.S. House seats for Republicans, citing concerns over racial gerrymandering and a power grab orchestrated by Abbott and former President Trump. Abbott's aggressive stance includes threats to remove these lawmakers from office via legal action, referencing a non-binding opinion from Attorney General Ken Paxton, though experts argue such moves face significant legal hurdles and may amount to political posturing. The standoff has halted legislative progress, including flood relief efforts, as Democrats remain defiant in states like Illinois, where they are protected from Texas jurisdiction. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker has drawn attention by calling Texas Democrat lawmakers who fled their state to block Republican-led redistricting efforts heroes, and offering them a safe haven in Illinois, a move that has sparked controversy amid his own declining popularity. Critics argue this undermines legislative accountability, while supporters see it as a stand against gerrymandering. Pritzker's approval rating among Illinois voters has recently taken a hit, with a July 2025 poll showing 50.2% viewing him unfavorably compared to 47.2% favorably, a sharp decline from earlier 51.9% approval in June 2025, reflecting growing voter discontent over issues like high taxes. This polarizing stance further highlights the partisan divide as Pritzker navigates his national ambitions and state leadership challenges. House Republicans are intensifying scrutiny of proxy advisory firms like Glass Lewis and Institutional Shareholder Services, accusing them of steering corporate America toward progressive environmental, social, and governance policies that prioritize ideological agendas over shareholder value. Led by figures like U.S. Representative Andy Barr, the House Financial Services Committee is targeting these firms' influence on Wall Street's voting practices, arguing they undermine retail investors and push companies toward costly, left-leaning initiatives like climate-focused policies. Critics, including some Democrats, defend ESG as a market-driven choice, but Republicans assert that unchecked proxy giants risk distorting corporate priorities and economic growth. This probe, while unlikely to pass into law under the current administration, signals a broader GOP effort to curb what they view as woke capitalism, infiltrating American businesses. Lockheed Martin is spearheading a pivotal advancement in U.S. missile defense through its ambitious Golden Dome project, targeting a 2028 test of a space-based missile interceptor capable of neutralizing hypersonic threats. This initiative, driven by the need to counter sophisticated missile technologies from adversaries like China and Russia, seeks to establish a robust, layered defense system integrating ground, air, and space assets. The company's prototyping hub in Virginia is already testing innovative concepts, including laser-based interceptors and projectile satellites, to ensure America maintains a strategic edge. While the project's scale demands collaboration across multiple contractors, Lockheed's early advancements position it as a frontrunner in securing national defense against emerging global threats. In a tragic incident in North Baltimore, a predominantly black neighborhood, a mass shooting on August 9, 2025 at Spalding and Queensberry Avenues left 6 people wounded, including a 5-year-old girl, with one victim, a 38-year-old man, succumbing to his injuries the following morning. Baltimore police are now conducting a homicide investigation, with no arrests made as they seek public assistance to identify the perpetrators. The shooting, which occurred around 8:46 p.m., targeted individuals outside, according to Police Commissioner Richard Worley, highlighting ongoing concerns about gun violence in the city. Harvard University's decision to label Georgia Democrat Stacey Abrams a political mastermind in an upcoming history seminar has raised eyebrows, given her two unsuccessful gubernatorial runs in 2018 and 2022. The seminar, titled Race, Gender, and the Law Through the Archive, highlights Abrams' role in shaping politics, focusing on her efforts in grassroots organizing and voter engagement, despite her claims of a rigged and stolen 2018 election against Brian Kemp. Critics argue that Abrams' portrayal as a mastermind overlooks her electoral losses and polarizing rhetoric, while supporters point to her influence in mobilizing voters and reshaping Georgia's political landscape. This move by Harvard underscores ongoing tensions in academia over how political figures are evaluated and celebrated. In a bold move to address rising youth misbehavior, Gloucester Township, New Jersey, has enacted a new ordinance that imposes strict penalties on parents whose children repeatedly engage in disruptive or unlawful acts. The ordinance, aimed at curbing incidents like vandalism and public disturbances, allows for fines up to $2,000 and potential jail time of up to 90 days for parents who fail to control their children's behavior. Supporters argue this measure promotes accountability and strengthens community standards, while critics raise concerns about its impact on parental rights and potential overreach. The policy reflects a growing trend in local governments seeking to restore order by emphasizing personal responsibility. Randy Weingart, president of the American Federation of Teachers, is facing intense scrutiny from House Republicans following allegations of improper spending of union funds on lavish personal expenses, including a reported $100,000 limousine bill. The Education and Workforce Committee has demanded accountability, questioning the misuse of dues meant for teachers' advocacy, with only 27% of AFT's budget reportedly allocated to actual teacher representation. Critics argue this reflects a broader pattern of union leadership, prioritizing personal luxury over educators' and students' needs, prompting calls for transparency and reform in one of the nation's largest teachers' unions. The University of Scranton, a Jesuit-run Catholic institution in Pennsylvania, has drawn criticism for hiring former Senator Bob Casey Jr., a known supporter of abortion rights, as a mentor and distinguished fellow for the 2025 to 2026 academic year. Critics argue that Casey's public record, including his consistent votes in favor of pro-abortion policies during his 18-year tenure in the U.S. Senate, contradicts the Catholic Church's teachings on the sanctity of life, raising concerns about the university's commitment to its religious identity. The decision has prompted debate among alumni, students, and Catholic leaders, who question whether a figure with such a stance should hold a prominent role at a faith-based institution. This move highlights ongoing tensions between Catholic universities and their adherence to doctrinal principles in an increasingly polarized political landscape. A powerful 6.1 magnitude earthquake struck western Turkey on August 10, 2025, leveling buildings in the Balıkesir province, with the epicenter near Sindiagi, and sending tremors through Istanbul and Izmir. The disaster, followed by a 4.6 magnitude aftershock and 7 others exceeding 3.0, has prompted urgent rescue operations as teams search for survivors trapped under collapsed structures. Turkey's Disaster and Emergency Management Agency has activated its response plan, deploying personnel across multiple provinces and warning residents to avoid damaged buildings. While no casualties have been reported, the scale of destruction underscores the ongoing vulnerability of a nation situated on major fault lines, still reeling from the 2023 quake that claimed over 53,000 lives. In a bold move to protect free speech, U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio has initiated a lobbying campaign against the European Union's Digital Services Act, positioning the United States as a critical defender of individual liberties for EU citizens. The act, criticized for enabling excessive digital surveillance and censorship, has sparked concerns over its potential to stifle open discourse. Rubio's efforts underscore America's commitment to countering overreach by foreign bureaucracies, emphasizing the importance of preserving the fundamental right to free expression in an increasingly regulated digital landscape. This intervention highlights a broader tension between national sovereignty and global regulatory frameworks, with the U.S. stepping in to advocate for freedom where others might falter. Belgium has emerged as a prime target for the pro-Russian hacker group No-Name 5716, which has escalated its cyber attacks on government and critical infrastructure websites, including mygov.be, the Walloon Parliament, and the Port of Antwerp-Zeebrugge, in retaliation for Belgium's military and financial support for Ukraine, despite a major Europol-led Operation Eastwood, in July 2025, which resulted in arrests and server seizures. The group's DDoS attacks have surged, disrupting online services but not stealing data. The Center for Cybersecurity Belgium has been proactive in monitoring and restoring affected sites. Yet the persistence of these attacks underscores the ongoing challenge of securing digital infrastructure against politically motivated cyber threats. Belgium's strategic position as a NATO and EU hub likely amplifies its vulnerability to such aggression. In a move aimed at reducing hostilities, South Korea has begun dismantling loudspeakers along its border with North Korea, which were previously used to broadcast anti-North Korean propaganda and K-pop music. This decision, initiated by South Korea's new liberal government under President Lee Jae-myung, follows a halt in broadcasts in June as a gesture to foster dialogue with Pyongyang. Despite these efforts, North Korea, led by Kim Jong-un, has rebuffed the overtures with Kim's sister, Kim Yo-jong, criticizing Seoul's alignment with the U.S. The South's defense ministry emphasized that the removal does not compromise military readiness, while North Korea has reportedly started dismantling some of its own loudspeakers, signaling a potential de-escalation in psychological warfare along the tense border. London, once a global hub for the ultra-wealthy, is witnessing an unprecedented flight of millionaires and billionaires, with over 30,000 high-net-worth individuals leaving the city in the past decade, including 11,300 in 2024 alone, due to escalating tax burdens and economic challenges. The Labour government's abolition of the non-domicile tax status, combined with hikes in inheritance and capital gains taxes, has prompted affluent residents to relocate to tax-friendly destinations like Dubai, Monaco, and Switzerland. This exodus, second only to Moscow globally, is compounded by rising crime rates and a declining London Stock Exchange, diminishing the city's appeal as a financial capital. Critics argue these policies, intended to boost revenue, may instead cost the UK billions in lost economic activity and jobs, as wealthy individuals take their investments and spending power elsewhere.
You're listening to Underground USA News.